In this video I'm going to show you how to draw the involute of a circle, and you'll need to familiarize yourself with the drawing and involute section of your text, because on your own, after this exercise, you'll need to draw the involute of a triangle and the involute of a square. And again, I want you to do that on your own, but watching this video for the involute of a circle should kind of give you an idea of what's going on, a little more insight. And the involute of a circle is by far the most difficult of the examples shown in the text. So I just want to help you out with this one. And so what we want to do is just start off, and we'll draw a circle with a radius of 0.5. Okay? Make sure it's a radius of 0.5 and not a diameter, okay? Alright, so what we want to do now is check and look at the circumference of a circle, okay? The circumference of this circle is 3.1416, but before I get too carried away, let's read the definition of an involute. An involute is the path of a point on a string as the string unwinds from a line, polygon, or a circle. So you may do yourself a favor and just Google involute of a circle, and you can see a little more animation and things like that. But you know, we'll end up with something that looks like a spiral as shown in the book, or a helix that we've already created, but it's different, okay? And it has an absolute use in mechanical drafting and engineering, especially in gears, because gears have involute teeth sometimes. So we're not doing this just for neatness. There's an absolute purpose here. So what we want to do, I mentioned that the circumference of this circle is 3.1416, and in the text it says to divide the circle up into 12 equal segments. And the reason why is because we're going to use the arc length, the segment arc length of this this circle. Okay, so if the circumference, which is the distance around a circle, is 3.1416, and we divide the circle up into 12 equal segments, we want to find out how long each arc length is. So using the cal function in AutoCAD, I'll type CAL, enter. I'll type in 3.1416 divided by 12, and then enter. So each segment of the circle, if we have 12 segments, is equal to 0.2618, and we're going to use that to create our involute. Okay, so what I want to do is type L, enter, and then from the quadrant here, make sure you have your quadrant snap turned on and polar tracking. I want to draw a line straight up by 0.2618. Alright, and then we're going to use the array command to array this around. So AR, enter. Let me select that line and then enter. And then the center point of our array is going to be the center of the circle, but first I need to tell it that we want a polar array. So I'll type PO, enter. The center point will be at the center of the circle. Make sure you have your center snap turned on. And by default, I get 6 lines. Okay, well, I don't want 6. In a previous video, I said you can change it by typing I and then enter and entering the number of items. But you can also change it here and change items here to 12. And now we have 12 lines, okay? And we've divided this circle into 12 equal segments because where these lines are tangent to the circle, those are equally spaced. So we've done what is required here, okay? I'm going to click on these lines and explode this to turn it into individual pieces. So I'll just type X, enter, and now all these line segments are free on their own, all right? So if you look at the involute that's drawn in the text, this line is twice as long as that. Of course, the starting point, I'm going to let my starting point be here. The second line is twice as long as the first. The third line is 3 times as long as the first. Fourth line is 4 times as long as the first, and so on and so on. So I think the easiest way to do this is to use the lengthen command, L-E-N-D-E, and we want to lengthen by the arc length, 0.2618. So we're going to go, I'll tell you before we do that, I'm going to turn this very first segment, this is my starting point, I'm going to put it on the construction layer. Now let's go back into our lengthen command. Okay, 0.2618 is my length. And then I'll go around and click on the ends, and make sure you click on the outside ends, not the inside ends, because it'll extend in the wrong direction. But we'll click on all these except the very first line, the gray one. Okay, and when we get back around, we'll make the next one gray. And then you'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. And again, we want to extend all the red lines by 0.2618. And then turn that one gray. Or put it on the construction layer is what I should say. And 0.2618 again. Okay. And then turn this gray, and you'll continue in this fashion until you go all the way around the circle. Okay. And then you'll end up with this. Okay, this is your involute of a circle, and of course, the very first point of your involute when you're drawing your spline should be at the left quadrant of the original circle. Your second point will be at the end of the first line. Your third point will be in the second line, and you'll go around in that fashion until you get all the way to the end. To know that you did the line creation correctly, of course, all these lines are tangent to the circle, but the very last line that you draw should have a length of 3.1416, which is the circumference of the circle that we started with. Okay, and this is what your object should look like when it's complete, and that concludes this video.